Starting with the busy bee. Someone's been a little busy bee with the hornet's nest. We've got the genie's lamp. Someone's been very busy building a hornet's nest with the provider of wishes or the grantor of wishes. Keeping the grantor of wishes stuck in this genie bottle. We have a long list of, or it could be a salutation, maybe a sign of respect, perhaps. But I don't know how that would be if you're doing the hornet's nest. Maybe they're in a place of they're trying to act like they're in a place of respect. My ex used to be like that. The more polite he was, the more, I guess it's passive aggressive, the more upset he kind of was. We've got the domino card. It's one domino. One domino falls, they all fall. We've got the letter or order coming out again. Cease or desist. Could also be just a legal document of some sort. Allow the chips to fall where they may. Got hot in here all of a sudden. I did shuffle these quite well earlier when I was putting them all back in the container. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have our target. Archery. Also the sign of Sagittarius with the archery. Center of the deck, we've got geode coming out again. Lots of pretty layers. We've got our water glass, which is our Aquarius card. The water bearer. Transparency. Perspective. We've got our vampire bat. Really scary looking, but you know what? If you pay them no mind, then they'll pay you no mind. They're a sign of they're highly social animals. Trust your inner voice and instincts. In Chinese culture, symbol of extended, extreme good fortune, happiness, and longevity. We've got our displaced card, our coyotes and mountain lions that were displaced from their homes so they can build homes for people or businesses, and then these displaced animals come back looking for food because that's where they generally had found food before, but they were kicked out of their house. Maybe someone thought that they were going to find some kind of fortune or some kind of reward by displacing someone out of their home. Top of the deck, we've got our colon card coming out. It's a list, an example, or quotations after a complete sentence. elaborating on the details preceding the cause. We've got the letter or order coming out again, a legal document. Elaborating on those details, making things pretty darn clear, right? About somebody's extreme wealth and prosperity. We've got the updo. Someone could be petite in stature. Someone could be conservative. Someone could just throw their hair up and they look like they're put together. They could be meaning business here. We've got the hierarchy cards. That's dealing with the spiritual world of things. Let's see which we are dealing with our hierarchy cards. Principalities is on the top. My mind is saying, just grab one. We've got our archangels in effect. Hey Google, can you tell me about the archangels and their meaning? We've got our death angel.
Archangels are considered high-ranking messengers and protectors in many traditions. The name archangel comes from the Greek angelos, meaning messenger, with the arch prefix signifying a higher authoritative role. Often their names end in "al", a Hebrew reference to God. Three are most prominent in Western tradition. Michael, whose name means "who is like God," is recognized as a powerful warrior and protector. Gabriel, meaning "God is my strength," is famously known as the messenger of the Annunciation. Raphael, meaning God heals, is traditionally viewed as a divine guide and healer. Other traditions and texts, such as the Book of Enoch, identify additional archangels with diverse roles, such as Uriel, Jophiel, and Metatron, who are often invoked for intellectual, organizational, or spiritual support.
And interestingly enough, the angel of death or the death angel is also known as a messenger as well. They're actually like the judgment caller.
You're right, it's a profound way to look at it. In many traditions, that figure isn't just about the end, but acts as a divine intermediary, or a judge who facilitates that final significant transition. It's a powerful role that bridges the gap between the physical and the spiritual. Would you like to hear more about how other cultures view the transition of the soul?
Hey Google, are you referencing the death angel?
I was referring to the various traditions that interpret the role of a messenger at the time of death, such as Azrael, who is often described as guiding souls with compassion, or St. Michael's roles in some Christian traditions. These figures are generally viewed as helpers during that major transition, rather than just bringing an end. Does that perspective on the messenger role change how you think about these figures?
Hey Google, what can you tell me about the death angel or the angel of death?
The angel of death is a figure found in various religious and cultural traditions, though they are rarely described as a single uniform character. In Islam, the archangel Azrael is specifically recognized as the angel responsible for separating the soul from the body at the moment of death, acting as a compassionate guide or psychopomp rather than a malevolent force. In Jewish tradition, terms like Malach HaMavet describe a messenger who carries out divine decrees, though he is distinct from any concept of the devil. While some folklore, often influenced by the image of the Grim Reaper, portrays these figures as somber or skeletal, many theological perspectives emphasize their role as divine servants who facilitate a necessary transition rather than bringing destruction. It is also worth noting that the Bible does not feature a specific angel of death with this assigned title, though angels are sometimes depicted as agents of God's will in historical or prophetic accounts. This figure essentially represents the human attempt to personify the universal experience of passing from life to the afterlife.
Hey Google, so the angel of death is also a messenger, just as the archangels are also messengers. It's pretty much giving someone that final warning that maybe you should not be doing what you're doing?
That's a fascinating interpretation. You're highlighting the idea of the angel of death, not just as someone who ends a life, but as a symbolic figure representing a final reckoning or necessary shift in path. In that light, the role becomes more about accountability and the urgency of living with intention, which echoes the way many traditions use these figures to emphasize the importance of one's actions. It frames that transition as a moment of ultimate reflection. Does that sense of urgency influence how you prioritize your own goals and plans?
Thank you for the explanation, Google. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. We have the ladder now coming
Ending
up.
our chat.
Thank you. Now we've got the ladder coming out, which is very interesting. It's almost like someone wanted to up their rank in some kind of way. A conservative order. Is that a conveyorship order? Like someone saw the layers, like clearly they saw the layers of the prosperity that were like they had several different kinds of prosperity and wealth and everything else that somebody had, and they wanted to displace this wealth. Possibly it was a Sagittarius that wanted to displace someone's wealth or displace somebody's person so that that way they can look like they weren't able to even handle this wealth. We've got the legal orders here, the cease and desist, and the conservative hairdo, which could be the conveyorship as well. And it's like saying, you know what, you need to make these adjustments here. You need to decide what way you're going to go with this because you're like at your very last warning here. You're going to have to make up your mind here. Someone was trying to climb the ladder or get to a higher stature or a higher status. And now they're asking for grace. Maybe having the perspective of having the glass being half full or refillable for that matter is what giving this idea or this person this idea that if they come in and ask for grace that it will be granted because you're the bigger person. The bridge. Justice. The elephant in the room. Elephants never forget, folks. Just saying. They'll never forget, but they'll, and because of that, I've mentioned before with the chain around their foot. Sometimes I don't know if you've wondered, but I had wondered. It's like, why does the elephant have the chain around its trunk of its foot when you see them just kind of, doing their thing in the circus or whatnot or wherever they're at? It's because at one time or another they were bound by something stronger than they were, where that chain would keep them in place. And so after a while, the elephant just learned they can only go a certain amount of distance, and then the chain would pull and then they couldn't go any further. So they remembered that, this is as far as I get to go. So when they remove whatever was holding the chain, they just leave the chain around the elephant's foot. So that way the elephant still has the feeling of the chain being there. And that reminds them of how that they're still bound, which is interesting because if you put the little string around your finger, it's supposed to remind you of whatever it is it's supposed to be the symbol to remind you of. The Justice card is also my Libra card for the balance and the justice. The elephant in the room is this order or this legal document that's here. for this female seahorse, the one that's always giving to others. Everything she produces, she's very generous and she gives it to other people. Turn back, that's not the best way to go. This is, again, underneath the warning signs here. Someone's being warned. Again, this seahorse could wear their hair up in an updo, but I have a feeling this is also about a legal conveyorship. Am I even saying that correctly? We've got the paint and the paintbrush, adding some detail and adding some color to this situation. Under the ladder. So adding some details to how they thought that they were going to get promoted, or they were going to gain stature, or they were going to gain position, or we've got swearing on a biblical Bible, on a biblical book, on a religious book. And it's coming in under grace. That's very interesting. Maybe somebody thought they swore that they were going to be able to fix the situation. They swore that they were going to be able to be forgiven, probably, and be able to come back and bridge the problems that were going, bridge the issues, and bring back the balance to the elephant in the room. But this female energy is seeing that there's the red flags in the situation. They're seeing the details. And they're seeing that, you know what? There is no need for someone to have to swear on something, because their word should be gold already, right? There's a black hole here. There's a black hole in the promise. They don't follow through on what they promise. They don't follow through on their word. They can't be trusted. The grass is greener on the side that you water. They don't tend to their word. They don't take care of it. Their word means nothing to them. And so obviously it shouldn't mean anything to you. You're missing the point here. Someone is broken, busted. The pencil is broken. You're missing the point comes from the Galatians chapter 4, where it was said that people are missing the point. It's like they think if they're doing these ceremonies that that's going to bring them closer to their connection, but it's not in the ceremony. It's in the knowledge of knowing and having the actual relationship. Right? It's kind of like, and I don't know if this is going to be a good analogy, but it's kind of like going to school and learning a language. Yeah, you can learn the language in a educational setting, but until you go out and practice it and use it on a daily basis, you will never become fluent in it. So maybe there's someone who can recite the verses of the Bible, but they don't live the life of the Bible or any other religious belief system, or any belief system for that matter. Like maybe someone can recite a recipe, but they can't follow the recipe and make the item that the recipe is trying to have you make, because they're just not connected to it. We've got quote unquote. So someone's missing the point of whatever someone had said. Radioactivity underneath the red flags. What somebody said was caused an uproar, a problem. What someone said was the red flags, giving this warning, this message that someone probably didn't take heed to. Day in and day out, they did the same thing over and over and over and over again, living in the hamster wheel. They just kept spinning We've got the Hollywood walk star fame. This is Marilyn Monroe. We've got the scroll. Someone just mindlessly scrolls on their phone, or the message is coming through. Someone could be living in Hollywood or living in the LA area. Perhaps this person is well known on social media. Maybe their story is on social media. Maybe someone is saying whatever this person is saying or doing on social media is toxic and it's a detriment to themselves. But the thing is they're missing the point. Maybe somebody is, okay, let's just say like what I'm doing right now. I have these pictures and I have these cards with words on them. And I look at them and I try to find a story or a meaning of what it is that I'm seeing or reading. And someone could misinterpret that as a huge red flag. I'm giving messages. I'm, giving these messages of doom and gloom, and she's just negative, and she's got a whole long list of these things, and she's just committing all these, breaking these rules and regulations. She's breaking, now this is, I'm exaggerating here, and she's just going down the black hole. She knows the details of things. She says that she believes in the Bible, and she'll speak about different things of the Bible, but the Bible says that you're not supposed to read tarot cards, or you're not supposed to. No, it doesn't even say you're not supposed to read tarot cards. What it says is that you're not supposed to go see psychics. And the reason for what I believe or understand or feel is that you don't want to go see psychics because some of them will mislead you into believing things that are not true, and it's to their own benefit in some cases, or in some cases some psychics can be paid to interpret the cards the way that whoever is paying them wants it to be said to be. Because if I'm a visitor and I don't know anything about tarot and I don't know anything about reading cards, whatever is on the pictures and whatever she's saying that she thinks, or he is saying that they say or they think the cards are saying, could be only referencing what it is that this other person wants them to be saying it is, or the person who's reading it wants to maybe sell you up on more offers, and like, oh, you've got a curse over your life. I have $200 can remove this curse for you, or whatnot. So of course you can go down a black hole in that case, because you're believing in what someone else is telling you versus what your own connection is trying to relay to you. And that will pull you away from having that connection with the divine, because you're supposed to be able to have the connection with the divine and communicate and get insight and intuition and messages from the divine. So someone could be misinterpreting what the religious books say, or the religious ceremonies or whatnot are indicating of what you should and should not do. And that message of what they understand it to be could even be something that they heard from somebody else who is going based on their own interpretation, and they're relaying it as fact. This is going to seem from left field, but it just goes to say that sometimes in the educational system, they're not actually trying to teach you the information, they're just trying to train you how to think. And this would go along with those lines. this person or this individual is more trained on the what to think or how to think versus using their own discernment and their own connection to the Most High or the divine in order to figure out what the heck is going on, which is probably not even their business in the first place because they're trying to be a conveyor ship for somebody else's finances. So they're trying to contrive this big story about how this person may read cards and that there's something other than what they are because they have cards that they read. Or someone might go to the gym 3 times a week, and because this person doesn't believe that going to the gym is good for you 3 times a week, they just say that, this person must have an addiction to the gym. Or because someone will drink once a week with their friends or whatever, that this person must have some kind of social alcoholic problem because they have to spend time with their friends every weekend, and all they ever do is drink when they go out with their friends or something. And maybe they don't even consider the fact that the person probably even hasn't even had an alcoholic beverage for 4 years prior to them going out that one weekend or whatnot, or several weekends in a row. And now they're trying to paint a picture like this person is a lush or an alcoholic because they started going out with their friends every weekend when they weren't doing that before. I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say, right? Maybe this person is a serial dater. I think, what's her name? Taylor Swift. She even has a song about it, right? That she can't keep a guy. It shows she must just be a serial dater. And I could be getting the lyrics wrong or what I understood about the song wrong. But in my opinion, maybe she gives these people a chance and then she finds out that it's not a match. And so then she just stops dating them. And then now she opens her heart up again to try to give someone else a chance and to see if it's a match there. And then now she's being accused of not being able to keep somebody when it's like you don't even know what happened there. The Little Red Hen. That was a storybook. One of my favorite stories growing up. It's about the little red hen who asks people for help. She's making the bread, right? And she's getting all the ingredients together. Well, actually, she's planting the garden, and then she um, takes care of the garden, tends to the garden, and then she'll pick the garden, all the vegetables and everything that she gained from the garden. And then she has to break all those ingredients down. And all the while, through all these different steps, she's asking if somebody would like to help her. Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And they're like, oh, no, sorry, I'm too busy. Oh, no, sorry, I need to sleep. Oh, no, sorry, I don't feel like it. Right? And so the little red hen, she just continually does all this work on her own. And at the end of her doing all this work at her own, and she's got this beautiful loaf or 5 of bread, now everybody wants to come around and reap the rewards of what the little red hen has been working on. We've got the male seahorse. Funny he should show up now after the little red hen has done all this work. Maybe this female seahorse needed help this entire time. And maybe this female seahorse made it known, you know what, I really need help here, I really need help there. And all the while, this male seahorse is turning his back on this little red hen asking, can you help me here? Can you help me there? And he's like, oh, no, I can't, sorry. He was definitely missing the point of the elephant in the room, right? Of maybe whatever it was that he was supposed to be committing to. Maybe he was saying that he wanted to have a serious relationship, but he was never there. He was never there to even help. We've got the school bus. Someone's being driven to school. Someone's getting a lesson. Camp. Someone's getting a ride in the school bus to camp. You know, there's certain rules with school buses you've got to follow when the school bus is present. Maybe this person only followed the rules when it was accommodating for him to do so. We've got the camp, taking a time out, some solitude, reconnecting to nature. We've got this worm trying to worm themselves back into your life. Or it could be a lure of some kind, but since we've got it underneath the hamster wheel, I'm going to say that this is trying to worm someone's way back into somebody's life. This camp is coming in under the radioactivity, so I'm going to say maybe the people in his camp or the people in her camp are a little bit radioactive and they're nothing but red flags. Maybe they're yes people. They don't take heed to the messages and warnings. And the school bus being underneath the quote unquote of the female, maybe this female tried to forewarn this masculine and it was saying this is what's happening, and now this masculine energy is getting schooled on what it was that she said. Person could actually be going back and studying this person's words that they may have written to them on social media messengers. We've got dimensions here. They're just different. They're on different levels, right? Different playing fields here. One of the parties, I'm assuming it's the female, the feminine energy is just on a different dimension. Like they're in the 5D and the masculine energy, doesn't have to be a man, but it's someone in their masculine energy, is more on the 3rd dimension. And the whole red flags could have been part of the second or the first dimension type people. More of the lower entities. We've got the mustard seed here. This person is always posting, probably, if we're doing the social media here with the scrolling. The things that they say, the things that they write about is about having faith. Rose-colored lenses, that's what they're about. We've got the radioactivity being in the center of the spread here. So this whole reading centers with that. Long. This masculine energy is longing for this person. They're missing the point. Maybe the masculine just said that they were going to do a lot of stuff and they just never followed through with it, like their word, their honesty, what we were talking about over here. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, yeah, I want to come over. I want to see you. Oh, yeah, I want to, I want us to get committed and stuff. And he just didn't follow through on it. It's like he thought that if he just said it, then it would be known and that it would be done, but he didn't do anything to work towards it. I don't know why this is bringing up this memory, but there was a guy who I knew when I was first in college. And we were friends, and he never really, we spent time together. He was a good friend of mine, I thought. And he used to get a little short with me when I would talk to him about, if I had an interest in a guy or this guy or whatever. And he'd get mad at me. And it's like, why are you even wasting your time with those people when they could care less about you? He would say stuff like that. And I'd get upset because I was so naive and I never even left the house to even socialize outside of school pretty much when I was in high school. And so when I was in college, of course, I had this whole new world that was open to me, and I was meeting new people, and I was just exploring the whole dating thing and everything else like that. Um, Anywho, we stayed in contact for like years after that, and I ended up leaving school. I ended up coming back up to where I was, and then I ended up meeting I ended up getting pregnant with one of my kids, and so I felt like I needed to be around my family in order to raise my child, because I had no idea, if the dad was going to be around or not. So I was just like, I'm going to take the safe route, and I'm just going to go ahead and move with family and have them around, so I would have the support system. And this guy decided to make a poor choice, or it was alleged that he made a poor choice. I think it had something to do with stocks. And apparently I don't know how that works, but apparently there was something that happened, and he did this whole thing with stocks, and then apparently he got in trouble for it. And then he tried to, and mind you, we were never intimate. He told his friends that we had been. Anywho, he blamed me and said it was my fault that he did what he did with the whole stocks thing, because I moved away and I wasn't there for him. My mind was so puzzled. I'm like, how is that my fault? Seriously, when he told me at first, I thought he was kidding. I thought he was being sarcastic, but years went by and he would still bring it up. So he was seriously, in his mind, he thought it was my fault that I left. But the whole thing is, and coming back to you're missing the point, you never said anything about how you felt. You never said anything about, hey, why don't you stay here? I'll help you raise the child, or I can be your support, or anything of that nature. So, where was I missing the point at? Just saying. I kid you not. I spoke to this individual again, probably 8 years ago, maybe, and he was still mad. He still blamed me for moving to my family to raise my child. And the whole time I never knew that he had these feelings, because he was never able to communicate them in a positive way to even let me know that. And now we've got school. So we've got, oh, I forgot to even mention with the light bulb. So we've got the light bulb and the bus. So someone's got a great idea, right? But it doesn't do any good for you to be driven to school if you don't have the school to go to, right? Because the light bulb is nothing by itself. It has to have an actual lamp in order to work. So you could drive someone to school, but if they're not trying to learn the material in school, it does no good to drive them there. So maybe someone is at a point now where they got this bright idea where they're going to go ahead and do some research, get some education, maybe spend some time alone in order to figure out where this radioactivity is coming from. Why are there so many red flags? Or if they're not doing it on their own, maybe it is showing up and it's telling them as the message, this is what you need to do. You need to get educated on these things. You need to take some time and focus on these things. Maybe that's what this message is. It's a huge red flag, a huge warning for this individual that you are just radioactive. You are the demise of your own story. That awkward silence. You know something's supposed to be said, but it's like, what in the world do you say? Maybe they're contemplating, how are they going to talk about this? They're going to talk about, the details about how they try to make their situation a better situation by doing whatever it was that they did the day in, the day out. How they were trying to promote themselves or get themselves promoted. They were trying to reach another level. They're at a crossroads, and it's under the dimensions. The go card and the light card, the traffic light card, is also my card of wasted resources, obviously, because it's completely bright blue outside and we've got the street lights going off. So, obviously there's a waste of resources there. Not to mention that someone's not getting credit where credit is due, because a lot of times we don't even mention who invented the traffic signal in the first place. The traffic signal obviously will direct traffic and tell people which way to go. It's a crossroads. There's a choice to be made. Are you going to stop? Are you going to slow down? Or are you going to keep going on with what you were doing? Just a question. We've got the life preserver. Maybe someone's going to fall back on their faith in order to save themselves. Maybe something that someone said about their faith and the way that they live in their faith and they live in their belief systems is what bridged them out of a dark hole that they were finding themselves in, of this mindless scrolling. Maybe something they came across online about faith is what will save them. This person needs saving. Maybe someone's going to throw them a life preserver and this person's going to have to decide if they are going to grab hold. Our outcome cards is the yarn. Yet another resource network. Maybe someone's going to have some funds for somebody. Maybe they're going to try to find some kind of loophole. We've got an oil change here. What is it, every 3,000 miles? I think they've said even between 5 and 10,000 miles are appropriate to do an oil change. If you're doing synthetic oil, it's supposed to last longer. So they're looking for a loophole in some kind of change. Maybe they're trying to refresh their situation. The Aniston haircut, everybody wants it. Everybody wants the same haircut. It's the fad, it's the fashion, it's the best thing out. Spectacles. And surrender. Connection to cleaning up their act. Maybe instead of going against the grain, they become part of the group. Maybe they're seeing what everyone else is seeing now. They're seeing the red flags. They're seeing the error of their ways. They were trying to avoid changing, and they were trying to avoid taking responsibility in maintaining the way that they're seen.